Hello and welcome to Transformation Now, a division of Soaring Higher Rocks. Hi, I'm Rita Rocker Kraft, a speaker, author, trainer, and I have such a heart to help people in areas of self-esteem, self-image, all communication skills, professional image, business etiquette, and a lot of career development programs. And today, I'd really like to talk to you about the miracle in my mirror. This is from a book that I co-authored, an international book, and I really felt led to talk to you today about the miracle in your mirror, which of course is you. And all the things going on in your life, especially right now, things can be a little bit rough. And it sometimes gets really depressing, or we may be going through a lot, but you are a miracle in your mirror. And so what I'm going to do today is I'll read a little bit and then we'll talk about it and go back and forth. But again, this is a chapter from the book I wrote, and I really want you to know that you are a miracle. Every time you look in the mirror, I want you to see that. So I'll get started now. And I said, God fashioned us as visual beings with the ability to create mental pictures to help us become all He designed us to be. So we actually have the ability to create mental pictures in our mind of who we want to be, not necessarily who we are at the moment. With that free will, and that's what it is, He gives us a free will to choose, comes the ability to create whatever we set our minds to do and to be. So we create what we set our minds to do. So really think about that today. With that free will to choose comes the ability to create whatever we set our minds on, whether positive or negative, growth-oriented or harmful. Is it difficult for you to see yourself the way you truly were meant to be? A lot of us I have had trouble with that all my life, and I know a lot of people who've also struggled with that. Do you feel worthy of designing a positive self-portrait where you are achieving your personal and professional goals, crushing your obstacles, and fulfilling your God-given purpose in life? This can be particularly challenging when everything around you may be a far cry from what you want or where you need to be. Your imagination is extremely powerful. The way you see yourself in your very personal mental picture will, over time, take root deep down into your spirit. But if you continue to dwell on them, they will be quite at home, planted in your subconscious mind, where they manifest what you are actually thinking. What you're thinking, those things will be manifested in your life. Once something is firmly lodged in the subconscious, just like a magnet, it sticks. You most likely will become just what you have imagined your life would be. So think about that. What we imagine, that's really what becomes of us. You can see how a healthy self-esteem keeps you on the road to fulfilled dreams, and a poor self-image, and on contrast, will bring you more of the same. So again, it's so much about our self-esteem, our worthiness. Self-esteem has everything to do with how worthy you feel that you deserve good things to happen to you. And so even if life has been extremely rough and maybe you have a job you don't like, not the money, all kinds of things in your life, the relationships, as we ask God to show us who we are, how we look through His eyes, our self-esteem rises because you see the value in who you are. You're made in His image. It says, put yourself in the following imaginary story, because after all, you may very well be experiencing these same feelings, fears, and obstacles that affect your self-esteem. Okay, here's the little story that I wrote in there. There once was a young lady named Bella who actually was a very smart, talented woman. She just couldn't see it for herself. She longed to know what her divine purpose was, to be so much more physically in shape and financially strong with a not so dysfunctional family and friends. Because she constantly compared herself to those around her, and that can be dangerous, with their successes, looks, talents, finances, and, well, you name it. She became very self-conscious, and that can be a really tough place to be. Bella longed to achieve her divine purpose, but she was too focused on herself, her fears, how inadequate she felt compared to others. Does that feel like you, possibly? There were a myriad of reasons and situations she blamed for her unhappiness. Condescending family and friends, people that were trying to give her a rough time all the time because they wanted her to stay at their level. A nasty boss. Have you ever had one of those? I have. They can really cause some damage too, if we allow it. So again, know your self-worth, your self-esteem. Old tapes still playing in her mind from fair weather friends. People can say a lot of things as we grow up, so a lot of those have to be dumped. However, living a life of excuses kept her stuck, unable to venture too far from her familiar places, where she could risk failure or rejection without deflating her self-esteem even more. So I want you to think about that. It's easy to live a life of excuses because then we don't have to venture out and risk failure, risk rejection, all those things that keep us down and keep us stuck. But then she was not really able, mentally, emotionally, to be able to go out and venture too far from those familiar places. And that's where we take a deep dive a lot of times and really trust God to bring us to that new position. So a lot of times we're going to have to risk failure and rejection to overcome that and go beyond it and see that we really are capable, lovable, powerful human beings. She often became angry and disappointed with herself. Wow, I know how that goes. How about you? Angry and disappointed with herself because she wasn't where she was wanting to be. What we believe to be true determines how we act and react in life, a friend told her. Why do you believe you only deserve the life of a hen pecking for crumbs in the barnyard when you were meant to soar with the eagles? Think about that. That's pretty powerful. Where are we? With the chickens or with the eagles? She didn't yet realize that she herself was actually the CEO of her own life and well able to make her own life-changing decisions. She had within herself everything she needed to fulfill her dreams and her ambitions. Yes, they were in there all that time. Number one key ingredient, attitude. Self-esteem and attitude go hand in hand, no doubt about it. So our attitude is everything. Sitting, being angry, being upset, feeling like we're worthless. No, that's not who we were made to be. We were made to be powerful. So then Bella starts thinking about how self-conscious she really was. What does self-conscious mean? Awkward, ill at ease, insecure, uncomfortable, embarrassed, unsure of oneself, or timid. So I think a lot of people have struggled with that and still are. Well, Bella thought long and hard and decided it was time to take a journey. Okay, this is a journey she decided to take to discover what a magnificent creature she truly was. Once she made up her mind to seek and build self-confidence, okay, she had to make up her mind to do that, to actually seek it out and to build it, and that takes work. She began noticing many wonderful people who had accomplished unbelievable feats when life was truly against them. Okay, so when we decide to do that, we start connecting, we start looking at other stories, relating to other people's lives and think, oh my gosh, I think I had it rough. Look at these people. A lot of them had it terribly rough. No arms, no legs, things like that. And yet made up their minds to accomplish their purpose in life. She saw others who were not hindered by lack of education, big one, age, finances, or anything else that could be an excuse. Those are really easy excuses. but we can overcome each one of those. One powerful example was when she read about a young lady who lived in a homeless shelter for years with her mother, with no decent home, room of her own, or anything but hand-me-downs. She was competing with kids in school that had everything the world could offer. Clothes, great cars when they were old enough, all kinds of things, being able to be in sports, having lots of friends. So people will do that a lot of times, but this girl, instead of comparing herself to the really hard life she was having, she never lost her self-confidence. Instead, she earned a scholarship to Harvard, one of the toughest schools in the whole country to get into. So did she let that life of poverty, not even having her own things, tell her, oh, that's all you deserve? No. She said, I am confident, I am worthy, I'm made for great things. And she followed that. And I think that is so awesome that she did that. I know a lot of people who have been very successful in this life without a college degree at all, or growing up in a very, very tough life. And yet they said, nope, I'm making up my own mind. I'm making decisions right now that I am overcoming. I can do it, and so can you. So then Bella then remembered as a little girl how she watched a young teenager win the title of Miss Teen USA. Now that's something I've talked about before. What was so outstanding or astounding about this competition, and I'll just add that I was in the Mrs. America pageant the year my husband died, and how I fought all these things that someone who has it really tough deals with when they're going through something like that. But here's this blessed little girl. She was a young lady. She was in a foster home. She had no family. The lady took her in as a foster child. And, she went to this pageant with all these beautiful gowns, lots of money, lots of clothes. And you could tell a lot of these girls really were the popular ones, the cheerleaders, everything else like that in their classes. Did she let that go? Did she let that keep her down? No. With her $39 evening gown that the foster mom put a few little things on to kind of decorate it up a little bit, she won Miss Teen USA. What an honor. And so no matter where we are, no matter what our clothes are like, even if we don't have family or supportive people around, know that you're valuable, you're worthy, and you can achieve, you can accomplish those great goals that you have. She saw her value and what she had to offer in spite of not having all the money, the family support, and the gorgeous clothing that the other girls had. What do you call that? Attitude. She had a powerful attitude, and it got her a long way as a testimony to what you can do in life. Well, Bella decided she too could alter the course she was on and design a new map for her life's journey. I was saying, design a new map. That's going to take time, and it's awesome, and it's exciting. She made a list of all the challenges, family issues, necessary steps for career growth and overhaul in her relationships, hurtful words and deeds done to her, and the things she did not like about herself. Okay, I'm going to go over that one again. A list, and this is something you can do. Family issues, oh boy, lots there. Necessary steps for career growth and overhaul in her relationships, very, very important. Hurtful words and deeds done to her that she knew, no, those aren't going to affect my life. Those aren't going to dictate where I go from here. And things she did not like about herself. Okay, those were her steps to create her new map for life. One by one, she determined what should be kept and what needed to be replaced in order to design. She's got the pen to design a beautiful picture of what she really wanted her life to be. As time went on, her situations changed, although not always as easy as she would have liked. She kept thinking about the challenges others had overcome, and that gave her the will and the inspiration to keep going. Always share your victory stories with others. Steadily, she pulled out more ill-fitting pieces in her life's pattern and created new flattering ones, rearranging as she went. And so our life has a pattern to it, And again, it could be negative friends, negative relationships, all the negative things. And sometimes we have to pull those out. We have to break friendships. We even have to break family relationships sometimes that are holding us down. We have to break maybe a habit of sitting in front of the TV all night instead of learning, challenging, getting on the internet or taking classes to help us grow. So again, there's all kinds of life patterns that, a lot of times have to be ripped out and replaced. So then she moved on to self-confidence. Well, what is that? Self-confidence is being confident about who you are, poised, sure of yourself, secure, and positive. Wow, that's awesome. So just like Bella, you too can make a stunning mosaic from all the pieces. Don't question or make excuses, just visualize and create without analyzing or asking how it can come about. Trust your Heavenly Father for how to do it. It is time for your metamorphosis, which is that striking change in appearance, character, or circumstances, usually by supernatural means. And if I have time in the end, I'll share a poem on metamorphosis that my mom wrote about my own life, and wow, what a difference in a transformation. So your hope and your promise is to spread your wings. It's time to fly. Never determine the outcome or value of your life by someone's opinion, or dwell on the failures rather than the accomplishments. Lots of opinions out there, so that's one thing that we never want to take to heart. If it's constructive criticism and it's actually there to help you build, to grow, to learn, hey, take it and work on that. But if it's negative criticism instead of a constructive critique, you know where that goes. You want to dump that. Do you realize that by dwelling on your failures, hurts, financial positions, or you fill in the blank, that you will actually draw more of the same to you? It's a proven scientific fact. Okay, this is scientific fact that's been proven. The law of attraction, or sowing and reaping, brings into your life what you have sown by what you think and what you do every day. Just like if you plant a row of beans, you're not going to get a field full of roses. So we will reap what we're planting in our lives. So by what we think and what we do. So assess the seeds you sow. Is it love, helps, empathy, good works, jealousy, strife, fear? Think about all of those things. I've had to do that a lot, and it really makes a difference because then we know what steps to take to go a different direction. We all know people who live their whole lives going through one failure after another. Why? Well, because their future as a failure was ingrained into them from childhood by a parent, teacher, peers, other people. Mine started when I was 5, and I always felt like I was a failure and a reject, so I always let that affect me. Still tries to sometimes now. Did you ever stop to think that you don't have to go through life this way? Really, it's so true. Be encouraged by the following examples out of hundreds we could read about those who maintained their self-esteem and kept pursuing their purpose. Sally Jesse Raphael was a well-recognized former NBC broadcaster. Although she graduated from Columbia University, she was told, "You have a perfect voice for broadcasting, but you should get a job as a secretary. We're not using women." Well, that unstoppable woman said, that's not happening to me, and she hosted one of the most popular talk shows for 2 decades. So she didn't let what she was told keep her down. Mary Kay Ash, the cosmetics tycoon, was told by her attorney weeks before she opened her first store, liquidate the business right now and recoup whatever cash you can. If you don't, you'll end up penniless. In 2003, this unstoppable woman was honored with the award of Greatest Female Entrepreneur of American History by a panel of academicians and business historians, and Oprah Winfrey was named second. And I believe Mary Kay's husband died like just a couple weeks before she actually opened her business. Famous failures like the Beatles. They were rejected by Decca Records, who said, "We don't like your sound," and they have no future in business. Oh, really? They proved them wrong, didn't they? Albert Einstein wasn't able to speak until he was almost 4 years old, and his teachers said he would never amount to much. Wow. Oprah Winfrey was demoted from her job as a news anchor because she wasn't fit for television. Michael Jordan, after being cut from his high school basketball team, went home, locked himself in his room, and cried. Look at his life. And Walt Disney, as I've shared before, had a very tough, rough, abusive life, but he decided that he wanted to create a place for people to have fun. And we're living that every day now still. Steve Jobs, at age 30, left devastated and defeated after he was abruptly removed from his own business that he started. So one important step to gaining self-confidence is by associating with people who are loving, supportive, and positive. Anyone holding you back needs to take a back seat, or I would say, take another bus. This remarkable woman, Bella, began avoiding the trap of comparing herself to others and stopped determining her value by her job, her bank account, and level of formal education. She soared high as the days and years went by, never looking back. So some effective ways for self-esteem is never. It's never. I don't care if you're 21 or you're 85. It is never too late to start over no matter what has happened in your life. New life starts today. You can do that. The old saying, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always had, is very, very true. So think about what is holding you back and start working on your plan. Moving on today, not tomorrow. Look at each mistake for the lesson it provides. I've made tons of mistakes, and now I look back at them as lessons, not things that will determine my worth and my value, but as lessons of what not to do now, and to be able to help other people to avoid those same mistakes. If I'd have listened to my mom, I wouldn't have made all those horrible things, but I didn't, as a lot of us can attest to. Accept that you are made in God's image, and know that you are powerful. Examine your relationships again. If they're destructive, need to throw them out. Negative feedback wears us down, and we don't need that. Be aware of what tapes are playing in your mind. Listen to your self-talk. That is so important. We become what we think about, whether that means a success, a failure, a dynamic person who can move mountains. So literally stop. Make it a point to stop and really think about what you're thinking about, and then listen to what's actually coming out of your mouth. And that's when we need to change the CD and the CD player and say, no, I'm not listening to that anymore. So learn from your mistakes, but listen to your thoughts, listen to what you're saying, so you know how to change them, where to change them. I'm going to skip through some of this. Be aware of the signals, though, that you're sending out. I take pride in my appearance. I take pride in who I am. I take pride in my communication skills. That's what I want you to think. Take pride in those things and ask God to direct you in how to change that image. If you create a picture in your imagination of something you want and dream about it coming to pass, you're going to continue to draw that to you. So I'm going to just share a few things here. When you embrace those things in you that you don't like, they can no longer hold you in hostage. So think about that. Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions, and that's from Einstein. Should you find yourself in a chronically leaking boat, energy devoted to changing vessels, life, relationships, as likely to be much more productive than energy devoted to patching leaks. That was Warren Buffett. And so think about those. In the long run, men hit only what they aim at. Henry David Thoreau, who was an excellent writer and philosopher. Now is no time to think of what you do not have. Instead, think of what you can do with what there is. And that, again, is so true. You all have talents, abilities, things that you can use now to go forward. And there's many more in here. I'd be happy to share those with you if you want to contact me. But research shows that 80% of our thoughts are negative, 80%. And so that's what we have to do then with thinking constantly about self-esteem. And Alice in Wonderland, when she went down the rabbit hole, and it's like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my life? And that was actually a political story. But the queen said to Alice, Alice said, there's no use in trying. One can't believe impossible things. And the queen said, I dare say you haven't had much practice. She said when I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed for as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. Cool. Why don't we try that and think about that? So true self-confidence, remember, value and worth will never, ever come from society. Your value and worth do not come from society. They don't come from the media. They don't come from Barbie dolls, reality shows, magazines, or anything else. It comes from God and what you believe in your heart. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you believe you are. Don't worry about those who talk behind your back, because they're behind you for a purpose. So think about that. I'll share some more on this later, but just remember how valuable you are and go forward. And God bless you, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.